So I want to start this video off by posing a question. Remember the time when it was practically impossible to get your hands on an airsoft Glock? I mean, it wasn't so long ago. But now it feels like every 2 weeks, it's just a new release around the corner. And man, they all look alike. They all look alike in how, like how Korean girl bands all look alike. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, right? They're all out there singing and dancing and, shuffling all over the stage. But they all kind of look alike. Kind of like the Glock. Even though the one I'm going to be talking about today, the Glock 17 Gen 5, seems to be the most anticipated one. And if we're still using this Korean girl band thing as an example, this would be the lead singer. You know, the one with the red hair, the one that's always out there in the front, doing her moves. All right, I think what we've finally learned today is I probably know a little too much about Korean girl bands. Back to the point, the Glock 17 Gen 5 is finally out, and we're gonna take a look. Over the past little bit of time, we've seen Umarex build up to this release that we're going to be talking about today. They've gotten the Glock license and started with the Glock 17 Gen 3 and 4, as well as the Glock 19 Gen 5. Shortly after, we saw the advent of the 19 Gen 4 and of course the 19X. With all the groundwork that they laid, it led us to this moment right here. All the improvements led to this moment in time, because this is the Glock 17 Gen 5. This is the Umarex Glock 17 Gen 5, and while some of you out there may say, it's just another Glock, for the love of God, I can tell you right now, this is not your average G-Series Model 17 GBB pistol. The history of the Glock 17 Gen 5 is actually relatively recent, going back as far as 2017, when these guns started rolling fresh off the press. The 17 Gen 5 was a much needed refresh over the 17 Gen 4. Now, we at RedWolf TV like to always go one step further to make sure we give you guys some context when we're talking about one gun versus another, especially when these guns look so alike. So allow me to introduce the Glock 17 Gen 4, and this is the Glock 17 Gen 5. I see how it can be slightly confusing, so come a little closer and we're gonna dive into it. I'm just gonna come right out and say it. For some of you guys that don't follow firearms or the gun industry in general, and you're expecting some kind of revolutionary brand new design or refresh, allow me to just remind you guys, this is Glock. To them, removing the finger grooves is a dramatic new design. Other than the groundbreaking and earth-shattering finger grooveless design, Glock took their stylings to a whole new level by simply beveling the front of the pistol, giving an otherwise brick-like gun some much-needed curves. Yes, a bit of nip and tuck really never hurt nobody, right? No matter it be Korean music idols or the old Glock, because it's just what makes a good thing even better. There are some subtle design changes that Glock made to the Gen 5 as well. Going back to the grip, the Gen 5 has a slightly flared mag well and added a finger notch, which can help in terms of reloading. Along with those small changes to the bottom portion of the frame, there's also minor changes to the design of the magazine. While the magazine looks, well, exactly the same, the base plate is slightly different. It kind of comes up a little bit in the front. Now, this is a Glock Gen 4, and it fits just fine. Actually, it looks even better than the standard one you see that comes with the gun. Now, I do have to say that this magazine is quintessentially the same thing as what's in all of the other Glocks. So this mag will fit all of the other guns. You can even take the Glock 19X magazine and pop it in this Gen 5 if you want an off-colored mag. Hey, I don't judge, it's 2019. The Gen 5 also features an ambidextrous slide release, which is a big welcome for left-handed shooters. The sights are also slightly different, and the Gen 5 Glock uses the same ones found on the Glock 19X, with Glock logos everywhere. Internally, the Glock 17 Gen 5 uses the same innovative system that Umarex and VFC put into the Glock 19X and the 19 Gen 4, which was a really big update to the whole line. If you don't remember what that system did that was so good, I would recommend you check out my full review I did for those two pistols. But essentially, what this system did for the 19X and the 19 Gen 4 was to make those guns incredibly snappy, very gas efficient, and gave an extremely strong recoil impulse, and made the gun cycle lightning fast. Now, what I would surmise, taking that system found on the two smaller guns and putting it in a full-size pistol, I think this Glock 17 Gen 5 is going to be one heck of a serious shooter. Not to mention, it also uses their latest hop-up adjustment system from VFC, so you can adjust it right here simply with an Allen key, make everything really convenient. Now, the Glock 17 Gen 5 is shaping up to be a pretty apt pistol, and there seems to be only one thing left to do. And I know you guys are here because you probably read the title. You want to know what 17 are we going to pit against this Glock 17. Any guesses? Come on. Can I hear it from my brothers out there that are screaming at the top of their lungs? Tokyo Marui G17 G Series Model 17. Woohoo! You want to know what it is? You want to know what we're going to pit against this guy? A worthy adversary. We're going to do this gun, the Glock 17 Gen 5, up with its prime real steel competitor. None other than the Sig Air M17. Well, the P320 M17. It's still got 17 in the name. Just go with it. Yeah, so I've had this guy sitting on my desk for quite some time, and it is a really great gun, and it's going to get a full review. So don't worry, it's coming. But for this situation, the Glock 17 Gen 5 needed some tough competition, something to really give it a run for its money. And I could really think of no other one that could do it than the M17. The reason why is internally, they are practically the same, even down to how you adjust the hop up. The other thing is, I really never thought that it would be a good, well, apples to apples comparison if you take the M17 and you compare it to like the Glock 19X. Well, at least in Airsoft, it doesn't really work out so well, simply because you get a full-size gun with a full-size inner barrel compared to, well, more or less a compact pistol with a shorter barrel. So we're kind of going to know which one's going to take the cake. But in this situation, I feel like the table is set and it's ready to, these two are ready to throw it down, basically. Now, there's also a small fun fact. Both guns are also made by VFC. So this is also kind of like, you know, the Airsoft equivalent of Family Feud. This is going to be a very interesting shoot. So we're going to compare it in our usual parameters: FPS and FPS consistency, accuracy at a closer and a further range, and of course, overall shootability, where I give you my personal thoughts of how they feel when they shoot in terms of trigger break, recoil, cycling, their sight picture, grip, and all the other intangibles. So less of me talking, more of the shooting. Let's get on with it. Here's the Glock 17 Gen 5. All right, the M17. Now I'm standing substantially further away down in the warehouse, and once again we're going to start off with the Glock 17 Gen 5. Pretty good. Let's take a look. Once again, the Glock 17 Gen 5 out here proving to all of us that there's nothing to be surprised about. Everything shot right smack bang in the center, and this grouping speaks for itself, which makes me really excited to shoot the M17 because I'm really dying to see how it's going to compare to this. Back to the Glock though. Again, the overall shooting ability and feeling of this gun is great. Everything is exactly what you would come to expect from a Glock that is, let's say, extremely refined. While I do wish maybe the sights were slightly bigger, help me see what I'm looking at a little bit better, but on a whole, the shooting experience of this gun was superb. I really have to commend them. There's something about taking the finger grooves off the frame, and with this kind of checkering, it's like a match made in heaven. Now let's go shoot this M17. Now the M17. Cleared that out. Let's take a look. Feeling good about this gun. So if you remember the grouping of the Glock 17 Gen 5, it's about the same as what you see here with the M17, albeit the M17 is a little to the right. Now, I don't know if that was whether it was my holdover or just where the sights were adjusted, but again, as you can see, the grouping was pretty good. A note on the shooting experience now. Now, I have shot this M17 for some time. And what I can say is ergonomically, this M17 I would say is much better feeling in your hand than the Glock. The grip angle feels a little bit more comfortable. The sights felt a little bit easier to read. And the overall shooting experience of it was very comfortable and very nice to shoot. Albeit the Glock does have a better checkering on their frame. I felt like I could hold it a little bit more in my hand better, even though I did enjoy the overall ergonomics of the SIG over the Glock. What an interesting turn of events for these two guns. They were so neck and neck, but before I finish off this video, if you haven't checked out the Glock 19X and 19 Gen 4 videos, click on the card above, or you can check those out in the description below. You know, you really want to take a look at those before I wrap this thing up, because it's context, everybody. That's really what it's all about. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into my final thoughts here. The battle between these two guns are kind of like what I would consider an MMA fight between two very well-rounded and well-made pistols. The reason why I would like to compare it to MMA is because, well, mixed martial artists take the best aspects of different disciplines of martial arts and they pit them against each other. So both of these guns are taking the best aspects of VFC's pistol lines and they've thrown them in these two guns. New system, upgraded hop-up style, and it really sees the extra added value of performance in these two guns. Now, back to the Glock though. The Glock 17 Gen 5 would definitely be the lead singer of our famous K-pop girl band called, well, Airsoft Glocks. The reason why I say this is because, all the jokes aside, there still needs to be a bit of talent and a bit of substance underneath the superficial beauty to make this product good. And I feel like there is a lot of good in this product. Just like how K-pop idols, they still need to know how to dance, they still need to know how to sing, and oftentimes they can sing and dance with the best of them. And that's why I feel this Glock 17 Gen 5 is. It can shoot with the best of them, even though it's, well, you know, just another Glock looking thing. But what do you guys think? Would you consider one of these, being the fact that now it's really kind of taken the whole, this is the pinnacle Glock thing away from just simply being the most advanced Glock of the Glock 19X? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm interested to learn, and I'm probably gonna see you guys there. And if you want cool products like this and this, you can check out our online store at www.redwolfairsoft.com. My name is Mark, aka Blue Steel. I'll catch you guys on the next episode of RedWolf TV. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button. If you enjoyed it, share it with your friends. And if you don't want to miss out on other episodes, make sure you click the notification bell. And I'll see you guys next time.